story. How tricky are you finding it to see a dentist in the county at the moment? For hundreds of people across Norfolk, the search for a dentist has become desperate. Many are finding they can't get an appointment as an NHS patient at all. The problem has been particularly acute in West Norfolk with the closure of two surgeries which were run by a national company called My Dentist. One was in Snettisham, the other in Kings Lynn High Street. But that has just added to a problem that was already in evidence. Let's talk to the North West Norfolk MP, James Wild, who's raised this issue in Parliament last week. He's been conducting a survey of people's experiences in trying to find a dentist. Morning, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Chris. Hi.
And I think your survey and the inquiries that you're carrying out, you're finding the same things that we are, that there are a lot of people in Norfolk who are really struggling to find a dentist at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. I've had about 150 or so constituents respond to my survey that's still on my website, and about a third of them have not been able to register with a dentist to get NHS appointments, and that bears out the figures that the National Audit Office found before, that we've got the lowest number of dentists per population in West Norfolk, and only 65% of the NHS activity that was contracted to be done was actually delivered, when the average is about 90%. So before COVID, there was a real issue here. It's a long-running issue, and COVID has just made that situation worse.
Yeah, I think this is the important thing to say. This was already an issue but before last March, wasn't it? Yes, COVID has increased the problems, but it was already an issue. Why has it got so bad?
Well, I think, as you say, there's been the practices that have closed, and then it's getting new people to come into the area, new providers. I've spent a lot of time talking to the NHS commissioning services. I've got another meeting with them this afternoon to talk about this, because we need short-term plans following the closure of the My Dentist in the High Street in Lynn. The money that was used for that should be commissioning additional services now. But then we need medium and long-term plans, which were there but have had to be put on hold due to COVID. So, for example, there was plans for at least one new practice, similar to the Marham service that came online last year. That's been put on hold. And then plans for longer term to get more attractive contracts to attract people to come to the area and stay here.
Yes, we will talk in a moment about the mid to long-term solutions, but it is a problem right now. We do need more dentists in Norfolk. The obvious answer would be to put up more lucrative salaries and just pay people more to come and work in Norfolk in this industry. Is that the most sensible way forward?
I think that's definitely something that needs to be looked at. I mean, in my survey, people were prepared to, who haven't been able to register, ideas I have, such as mobile services, pop-up services, bring people into the area for temporary periods to address the short-term need whilst we sort out these longer-term plans. So I think there's a whole mixture. There's a lot that needs to be done in terms of training, and the NHS are looking at work with the University of Essex, for example, on vocational elements and getting students and people training to come up to West Norfolk and other parts of Norfolk, as well as looking at the mix of skills between dental therapists and hygienists. So there's no quick fix here, but we need some short-term measures to address the immediate need, whilst putting in place the medium and longer-term plans that have got to be sustainable.
And it's a serious situation, isn't it? Because we're talking about people's health here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's frightening figures around the proportion of children in the area in West Norfolk who've got visible signs of tooth decay. I think it's sort of up to 20% in some of the surveys you've seen. We want to focus as well on prevention rather than treatment, and that means looking at things like the way the dental contract is designed and how dentists are remunerated and what the focus is. Again, that's not something that can be fixed straight away, but as with all public health, we want to be looking at prevention and good dental hygiene to prevent the problems that people have had where they have to have urgent dental care to remove teeth or other painful treatments.
Now, under normal circumstances, this is the sort of thing you might go and knock on the health secretary's door and have a chat about. But, for obvious reasons, COVID is the great priority at the moment. So does that mean that issues like this are not able to get the sort of attention they usually would?
No, you mentioned the debate I spoke in last Thursday, where I set out the issues that we've got here and called for we need a plan so that people in West Norfolk can see how this problem can be solved, and that needs to be a public plan. And the Minister, Joe Churchill, has agreed to meet with me to talk about the issues here, in addition to the meetings I've had with the NHS. So no, of course, COVID is the number one priority at the moment. the plans for some of the services which the NHS have been worked on have been put on pause because the people working on them have had to move across to work on COVID as it's a level 5 threat. So that's understandable, but we do need to continue to focus on this issue. So no, I'll be talking to the minister in the coming weeks about this and trying to get that plan in place.
We were talking to Nick Stoles earlier on in the programme, who is a local dentist and also secretary of the county's local dental committee. He thinks the main problem is that we don't have a dental training school in Norfolk, and that means that because when people go to these schools, they tend to stay in that local area, so there's no one in Norfolk doing that, and also because there isn't one here, youngsters from Norfolk don't see it as a place they can, as a career they can train for. So ultimately, that's what we've got to do, haven't we? We've got to get more dental training in Norfolk if we can.
Well, I heard that, and I think that's a good point. I mean, if you look at the NHS, we're getting a school of nursing now, something I campaigned for in coming to the College of West Anglia and Lynn, so that we can have people train in nursing locally and then feed into the QEH. So I'd be very up for having more dental training in the area. They are looking at relationships with the University of Essex, the Eastman Dental School in London, and whether there's an opportunity to bring more of the students from there up to West Norfolk. But I'd certainly be happy to raise that suggestion with the minister to see what scope there is to get more training. Because you're right, when people come and train, they tend to stay in the area, and obviously West Norfolk's got so much to offer in terms of the quality of life that I think people would come and stay.
Northwest Norfolk MP James Wilde, thank you very much for joining us. If you want to carry on with his survey, it's on James Wilde's own website. He's looking at the problem of dental appointments in Norfolk. We're looking